Speak about like just like the desires thing. Like we can't try harder to desire different.
No.
Right? Like our desires don't lie. Desiring God has a great article about that. Like our desires don't lie. Like they are what they are. And I think we just need to admit often that we can't change our desires. When we like have inclinations towards certain sin or to neglect our family or to whatever, and we just admit that we can't instead of trying harder, we need to admit defeat, confess it, and pray to God to change our hearts. And it reminds me of David's psalm, "Create in me a clean heart, of God." Like he's saying that as a believer, no, which is interesting. It reminds me of another topic that we were often taught growing up to pray for a new heart, but it never says that in Scripture to pray for a new heart. The only one where it gets close to that is David saying, "Create in me a clean heart, of God." But that is a believer saying that. I was like, change my heart, because trying harder isn't going to fix it, right? We can't try harder to change our desires.
Similar to Paul, where he talks in the New Testament about, I do things I do not want to do, right? And I think that's a comfort. That's a comfort to people that are professing Christians or trying to figure out if they're a Christian. It should be like, hey, you are still going to sin. And I mean, if it bothers you that's a good sign, right? And I think that a lot of people just live in this weird spot of thinking, oh, I'm going to be like so different or so perfect. And it's like, no, like it's a lifelong struggle, right? So
I'll at the end of today's episode, I'll add the piece of my freedom session testimony that I said I might share a couple episodes ago. I recorded
are you putting
it
in the overtime?
Yeah, no, I'll put it in the regular show, but I'll take it. I shared it in overtime already a couple weeks ago, but I'll clip it and I'll put it at the end. But the reason I bring that up now is after doing freedom session a few times and doing a lot of recovery work, I kind of thought that like at the end I would kind of like be over things and be free, and like I wouldn't have to deal with like so much sin anymore. And that isn't the case. Like you still struggle, and you're just more free and joyful and less like weighted down. But the night that I shared that, we had a friend over, 7-year-old widow, and I shared it with her, and she gave it back to me, and she said, "Kyle, it doesn't stop." I'm like, "What doesn't stop?" She goes, "Like the struggle," and she goes, "Like I still deal with so much selfishness." She's been a believer for like 40 years, and it was somewhat, I guess, encouraging to me that like, oh yeah, like we will be fighting until the day we die against sin and self and the things in this world. Like it isn't going to stop. And I think sometimes we have this idea as a Christian that like we're going to, we need to.
We do need to fight though.
We need to keep fighting.
And I think a lot of people just don't fight, right?
That's
they
right.
Basically, and ironically, it's counter to what you were saying earlier about giving up. Because one of my other sayings is you got to give up to win the war, and you got to admit that you can't do it on your own, right?
Yeah, that's the same thing. That's in the same.
So
same
it's a bit of a paradox, but I do think that people don't realize.
But I think that's where the battle is, right?
Like fighting quietly on their own in their head.
Like taking up your cross and following God is constantly admitting defeat. That's the hardest thing to do, is to admit defeat. We want to say that we're strong enough.
We want to do it on our own.
We don't want to do it on our own.
It's like
human
nature.
It goes against our nature to say like, call up a buddy, like me calling you this week, and being like,
not doing great in my head.
Pray for me. Like, okay, what else you got? This is your show, so
you've done 80% of the talking, at least 70. Yeah.
We'll do a poll.
So just. Oh yeah, we can answer the question. The last question.
Okay. Hey guys, if you enjoyed that episode and were blessed by it, would you be willing to support the show? That would help a lot in creating more content, improving the quality of the content, putting the production value, getting more guests on, and me being able to spend more time and energy towards it. So if you're interested in doing that, you can click up here and it'll take you to a support page. But you can also subscribe to the podcast by clicking over here and doing that. Thanks again for listening, and I'll catch you on the next one.